Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel. I'm here to talk about my favorite books I read in 2019. Romance ones though, only. So you'll get a separate video in a few days with my non-romance faves, but I broke this down into my adult romance favorites and then I picked 5 YA favorites. You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I want. I read 220 books this year. I think that this is a totally fair breakdown. There comes a point when you read so much that like you can't just give like a top 10 list. So I'm not giving a top 10 list, and I might break some rules too, but they're my rules, so oh well. I can break them if I want to, right? Let's get down to it real quick so we can just run through these. I'm not gonna give synopses. I will tell you why I loved them, but if you want a synopsis, just click on the link to Goodreads and go read about it. Number 20 is Cinnamon Blade by Shira Glassman. This book took me by surprise. This is a female-female romance novella. It is about a superhero and the secretary she keeps rescuing, and they're like bid to fall in love. So much is packed into this book, and I just loved it so much. I thought it was a great kickoff to my year of like reading a lot of women loving women romances, so I can't recommend it enough. It was so delightful. Also, there's like a great under the table scene. Real hot. Next, for 19, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a really divisive book. For me, it hit me at just the right time, and I just really loved the soft, like slow burn romance of it all, and the whole premise, of course, that it's the president's son and the prince. So it was just really cute, and it felt just like a cute little warm hug. Then we have The King of Bourbon Street by Thea DeSalle. I loved this book. One, we got some great fat rep. Ignore that cover. That cover does not represent that character in any way, unfortunately. But it was such good fat rep, a really good age gap that was well handled, and it was a lot about finding your own independence from an overbearing family. 17 is Take a Chance on Me by Salika Snyder. This is the first book I read in 2019, and it's still a book I'm constantly wrecking. This is a short novella about a guy who's in a motorcycle gang, which you know is not my favorite thing in the world, and it is so well done. It was inspired by this picture of Chris Evans, and I just like, I loved them so much, and I really wished it was a full-length novel. Next, we have Sin and Ink by Naima Simone. This is my introduction to Naima, and I am so glad it was, because I cannot wait to read more of her books in 2020. This is like super taboo. It's a brother who's passed, widow, and his brother. It's smoking hot though. Like, I discovered Naima from the Wicked Wallflowers podcast, and she was a riot on there, and then I had to read this book, and then I was like, whoa, this woman is writing some smoking hot books. Like, I cannot recommend them enough. I just adored this one again. Like I said, I really think it's whew, just getting a little hot thinking about it, okay? Like, it's one of those. Number 15 is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. Now, this book for me, what really did it was Georgie and her personality and her career. So Georgie is a clown and wants to run her own party business, and I just loved how she was finding a way for herself to break away from her family and be taken seriously. Because I do think sometimes as like the baby in the family, it can be hard. And I found that really just relatable personally, so I loved it. Number 14 is The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. This is a kind of slow burn, slightly angsty, women loving women romance. It's sapphic. I loved it. I loved the way in which she showed love by doing this like craft and helping her write this book in a way that normal people, like your layman, would understand. And I just really love that book, and I cannot wait for the sequel to come out, because it's like a beekeeper and something else. I can't remember. I read Beekeeper and I was like, I'm in. I'm so easy to please, y'all. Next we have book 13, which is Sweet Ruin by Cressley Cole, and I wasn't sure which Cressley I was gonna put on this list, honestly, but the more I think about Sweet Ruin, the more I love it, because like he's poisoned to everyone but her, and it's like one of my favorite things when like the guy is just an asshole to everyone but her in a book, and like it's just like I don't know, it's cozy. I love it. Book number 12 is Mangoes and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. Again, another sapphic novella that was Christmas time based, and my heart. I just like really found a space that I didn't know I needed filled in me when I started reading these books. Also, it sounds really dirty, but it's true because I didn't realize how much I wanted sapphic romances that were like really good and not just like corny, or that just like had the same quality as other romance. And I got that a lot this year, and I just like, it made my heart so full. Book number 11 is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is, what do I say about Chloe Brown and Red? I just like, I got all the warm fuzzies reading it, and I just felt very like seen by how Chloe had to plan her life sometimes, because though I am not disabled, I do have times when I'm like have to like really plan it out to like get shit done and to be accomplished and not totally wiped. Like I can't extrovert too much because then I am literally wiped. We had a weekend recently like that where like the next day I told my husband, I told Dave, I'm not leaving the house. Like I just need to be at home all day for like the next 2 days to recharge. Book number 10 is Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. So I somehow have not read Katrina Jackson before this year. I don't know how, but I fell in love when I read Neighborly because y'all, Neighborly was smoking hot. So good. Again, another sapphic story, and it is about a girl who moves in to the other apartment this couple's renting, and the two women want to be together and the husbands let them, and it's just hot. Like hot, hot, hot. I highly recommend this book if you haven't read it yet. I think it was like just so freaking good. Number 9 is Flashed by Zoe Castile. This book is Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it was my favorite one I read this year, so it immediately went on the list because that's what I do. That's my like, that is my book nip, that is my like trope. So when I find one I love, I'm immediately like, yes, on my list. Number 8 is Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. I loved the twist on this for the imbalance where she's kind of the teacher's assistant and he's a student. She thinks he's just like a no good nothing like 20-year-old. Turns out he's grown, and it was just, I just really loved it, and I really gotta read more Christina C. Jones in 2020. Book number 7 is The Rogue of Fifth Avenue by Joanna Shoup. This book taught me that I need to read more Gilded Age romance because I really like the Gilded Age. This is a headstrong woman who's helping other women in the tenements. She's not in the tenements, she's like wealthy, and she kind of gets into it with her dad's lawyer, and it kind of goes from there. She's trying to help somebody out, and he's kind of having none of it, and he has secrets to hide, and it's just really well done. It unfolds so beautifully, and the sequel is just as good. So honestly, if you for some reason haven't read this book by Joanna Shoup, I do recommend it. Number 6 is Brazen and the Beast by Sarah McLean. Of course this is on my list. I love the Bare Knuckle Bastards. I love the premise. I think that Wit was the sweetest hero ever. I mean, he carries candies for kids. My heart. Like, y'all, oh my god. But also our Brazen one is just so headstrong, and I adored her as a heroine. Hattie was so confident, and she really like brought it home for me in a lot of ways, and is a mentality I'm hoping to embrace more and more in the coming years of fuck it and doing what makes me happy and making sure I am like being true to me at the end of the day, no matter what that is. Hattie was so good. And that the book is basically about Hattie doing that. Okay, next we have Managed by Kristen Callahan. This is a I can only sleep with you in the same bed as me trope. If you've not read any of the other Kristen Callahan books, that's okay, you don't need to. Just read Managed. You will be fine. I'm actually getting ready to reread it again because I loved it so freaking much. I just loved Scotty, and I can't sleep with you without you in my bed, and I don't want to admit this because like this is so against who I am as a person, but then they like come together and it's beautiful. 4 is a double hitter, we're gonna call it. I have Trashed and Thirsty by Mia Hopkins. This is about the Rosa brothers, and I thank you, E, for never shutting up about them and making me read these books, because I loved them and I cannot believe I hadn't read them yet, and I can't believe how much I love the Rosas and the storytelling in this, much less the strength in the heroines and the heroes, and the adventure like that they go on is so real, and the story, the way it unfolds, it just was like the best breath of fresh air in my romance reading that I've had in a long time. Number 3 is Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I have a vintage copy that I'm gonna get signed by her this year. Here's the step back just so you can see. This is about Derek Craven and Sarah. Derek Craven is such a strong hero and is so confident in himself and what he is going to do that he's kind of like a take no prisoner, but also so soft at the end of the day when it comes to Sarah, at least. So my cheating category is Beverly Jenkins' Old West trilogy for number 2. So I'm counting all 3 books as my number 2 slot, because honestly I read them all 3 within a very quick amount of time and I melted. Every character in these books is like love, and I would marry all of the women. I mean, all of the men too, like any of them. I love them so much. It was just such a strong showing of like character growth and storytelling, and what a delightful setting that I feel like we don't see enough of in historical that is not like centered on white people. I loved these so much. Like, we all know Miss Bev is queen. Like, anyone who reads romance and is involved in the community knows that she's amazing. I've met her. She is incredible in person. And this just like reinforced it so much. Last but not least is Can't Escape Love / Once Ghosted Twice Shy / Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. So the Reluctant Royals, I read 3 of them this year because we had 2 novellas and then the final book. And I love Alyssa Cole. If you watch my channel, you know this. I think she is one of my favorite romance writers currently writing. I think she manages to write historical and contemporary so well. But the Reluctant Royals series really grabbed my heart and are actually one of the books I always recommend to people trying out romance for the first time or who want to come back to it, because I think that they do a really good job of playing with the tropes in a way that's like familiar, but also kind of like spins it on its head enough that you're invested. I just loved all of these books. I like cried when I finished Prince on Paper, but that one was probably my favorite of all 3. Duke in Disguise is a close second because I really like Scotland. But yeah, A Prince on Paper just like hit home in so many ways, and she was like such like, it was so fun watching like 2 nerds fall in love basically. Yeah, oh, just warm fuzzy feelings. So those are my 20 best adult romance picks for 2019. So I'm gonna quickly run through my 5 YA picks and talk about them, because I couldn't narrow it down more. So first we have I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I thought this was a really well done Own Voices. I think that it was beautiful. I loved the story, the representation it gives to kids today. I just really enjoyed this book overall. Next we have My So-Called Bollywood Life by Nisha Sharma. This book surprised me. It was nominated for a Rita when those happened last year, and we read it for Romance Sparks Joy, and I just loved it immensely. Like, I really loved this book. I thought it was so cute. I loved the premise. It really took some of the tropes we're used to seeing and flipped them around into ways we're not used to. It made me want to go watch a bunch of Bollywood movies. It was just such a good like dive into this culture and into a really cute like fated mates destined to be together, but for teens. Next, for number 3, we have Don't Date Rosa Santos, which I also just adored. I can't say enough good things about this book. I really loved it. I cannot wait to reread it in a few years. I still gotta get it on my bookshelves. Like, I finished that book, I cried tears of joy and sorrow, and just so good. So good. Next we have Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This was a sapphic royalty novel, and I also really loved this. I thought it was so well done. It was delightful. I liked her Prince Charming a lot, but not as much as I liked Her Royal Highness. It's like kind of enemies to lovers, great setup. Overall, just a super fun time to read. And then last, we've got Technically You Started It by Lana Wood Johnson. This was told via text message, which I thought was just the most interesting storytelling format for this, and it's enemies to lovers. She doesn't know who she's texting. I thought it unfolded beautifully. Loved it so much. So those are my 25 books I loved in 2019. So be sure to let me know if you've read any of these or what one of your favorite books of 2019 was down here. And be sure to subscribe. Give me a quick thumbs up if you want. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.